Tampa, Florida, May 13, 2023. Taylor Swift was in the middle of Lover when she noticed a little girl in the front row sobbing uncontrollably. As security moved to remove what they looked like a disruptive child, Taylor stopped the entire Eras Tour show and walked to the edge of the stage. What she discovered about 8-year-old Sophia Chen would lead to the most heartbreaking duet in Eras Tour history and prove that the greatest performers don't just entertain, they heal. May 13, 2023. Raymond James Stadium in Tampa was packed with 70,000 screaming fans, all eager to see Taylor Swift perform the Eras Tour that had become a cultural phenomenon. The massive stadium was transformed into a wonderland of lights, stages, and production value that made each era of Taylor's career come alive. Tonight felt electric from the moment Taylor appeared on stage in her jeweled bodysuit, opening with Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince. The audience was absolutely wild, responding to every costume change, every surprise song, every choreographed moment. But as Taylor moved into the Lover era portion of her set, preparing to sing the title track in her pink and blue ombre dress, something in the front row caught her attention. There, in one of the coveted floor seats, sat a small girl who couldn't have been more than 8 years old. While everyone around her was singing and holding up their phones, she was crying. Not happy, overwhelmed fan tears, but deep, heartbroken sobs that shook her tiny frame. Her mother, a woman in her 30s wearing a homemade Taylor Swift t-shirt, was trying desperately to comfort her, but nothing seemed to help. Taylor began the opening notes of Lover. We could leave the Christmas lights up till January, but her eyes kept drifting back to the crying child. She could see security guards beginning to move toward the little girl, obviously considering her a disruption that needed to be addressed. That's when Taylor made a decision that would transform an ordinary tour stop into something extraordinary. She stopped singing mid-verse, holding up her hand to halt the band. The stadium fell into confused silence as 70,000 people wondered what was happening. Taylor walked to the very edge of the stage, her voice gentle as she spoke into her microphone. "Hold on, everybody," Taylor said, kneeling down at the stage edge. "I see someone down here who's having a really hard time, and we need to make sure she's okay." The spotlight found the little girl, and the entire stadium could see her tear-stained face and the way she clung to her mother. Instead of being embarrassed by the sudden attention, the child looked up at Taylor with such raw pain in her eyes that it took Taylor's breath away. "Hey, sweetie, what's your name?" Taylor asked softly. The little girl's mother encouraged her to speak, and in a voice that the stadium microphones barely picked up, she whispered, "Sophia Chen." "Sophia Chen," Taylor repeated warmly. "That's such a beautiful name. Can you tell me why you're so sad tonight? What's wrong, Sophia?" What happened next stunned the entire stadium. Through her tears, Sophia began to speak, and her story unfolded in a way that left 70,000 people hanging on every word. "My daddy was supposed to bring me to see you," Sophia said, her voice growing slightly stronger as Taylor listened intently. "He promised me for my birthday that we would come to the Eras Tour together. But 3 weeks ago, he had to go to heaven, and Mama brought me instead because she said, Daddy would want me to still hear you sing." The revelation hit Taylor like a physical blow. This wasn't just a sad child. This was a little girl mourning her father, trying to honor a promise he could no longer keep. Taylor felt tears immediately forming in her own eyes. "Oh, honey," Taylor said, her voice breaking with emotion. "I'm so sorry about your daddy. That must hurt so much." Sophia nodded, fresh tears streaming down her face. "I miss him every day. He used to play your songs for me when I was sad. The Best Days was our special song. He said it was about how much daddies love their daughters." The stadium was completely silent. 70,000 people were riveted by this conversation between one of the world's biggest stars and a grieving 8-year-old. Even the band members were visibly emotional. Taylor looked back at her dancers, then at the massive crowd, making a decision that went against every tour protocol and production schedule. She turned back to Sophia, with tears now openly running down her own face. "Sophia," Taylor said, I want to ask you something really important. Would you like to come up here on stage and sing The Best Days with me? We can sing it for your daddy together. I think he'd really love that." The offer was so unexpected that the stadium erupted in supportive applause. Sophia looked up at Taylor with absolute wonder, as if she couldn't believe what she was hearing. "You want me to sing with you? On the stage?" she asked. "I would be honored to sing with you," Taylor replied. "Your daddy sounds like he was an amazing person, and I think this is exactly what he'd want. Don't you?" Sophia looked at her mother, who was crying as hard as her daughter, but nodding through her tears. "Go ahead, Mia," she whispered. "Daddy would absolutely love this." Security helped Sophia make her way to the stage, and Taylor personally lifted her up, setting her gently beside her. Sophia was tiny next to Taylor's elaborate costume, wearing a simple purple dress and clutching a small handmade sign that read, "My daddy's favorite was you." "This is my friend Sophia," Taylor announced to the crowd. "She's going to help me sing a very special song tonight. Let's give her all our love and support, okay?" The roar from 70,000 people was deafening but supportive, and Sophia looked out at the massive crowd with a mixture of fear and wonder. Taylor knelt down, so she was at Sophia's eye level. "You ready?" she asked gently. Sophia nodded, still clutching her sign. Taylor stood up, keeping one hand on Sophia's shoulder for support, and began singing The Best Day acoustically, without the full production. Her band followed her lead, creating a gentle, intimate arrangement despite the massive stadium setting. "I'm 5 years old, it's getting cold, I've got my big coat on," Taylor sang, and then she held the microphone toward Sophia. Sophia's voice, small and sweet but surprisingly strong, joined in. "I hear your laugh and look up smiling at you. I run and run." Together they sang, Taylor's professional vocals providing a safe space for Sophia's smaller voice to shine through. As they sang, something magical happened in that stadium. Sophia's tears were still falling, but they had changed. They weren't tears of pure grief anymore, but tears of connection, of feeling close to her father through the song they had shared. The audience was completely captivated. Tough men were openly crying. Parents were holding their own children tighter. Everyone in that stadium understood they were witnessing something sacred, not a performance, but a healing ritual. When they reached the bridge, Taylor sang solo about the love between parent and child, and Sophia listened, swaying slightly to the music. Then for the final chorus, they sang together again, and Sophia's voice grew stronger with each word. "I love you for giving me your eyes, staying back and watching me shine, and I didn't know if you knew. So I'm taking this chance to say that I had the best day with you today." The song ended, and the applause was unlike anything Taylor had experienced in her entire career. It wasn't the screaming frenzy of excited fans, but the reverent, gentle applause of people who had been moved to their core. Sophia looked out at 70,000 people clapping for her with wonder and disbelief. But Taylor wasn't finished. She had one more gift for this brave little girl. "Sophia," Taylor said, taking off the ornate friendship bracelet she was wearing, one that had become an iconic part of the Eras Tour experience. "I want you to have this, not because you're sad, but because you're incredibly brave. It takes so much courage to share your heart with all these people, and I want you to remember that your daddy would be so proud of how strong you are." She placed the bracelet on Sophia's tiny wrist, and Sophia looked at it like it was the most precious thing in the world. "Thank you, Miss Taylor," Sophia whispered, and then she threw her arms around Taylor's neck and hugged her tight. Taylor held her for a long moment while 70,000 people watched in silence, many openly sobbing. Then she walked Sophia back to her seat, personally, making sure she was safe with her mother before returning to the stage. The concert had been forever changed by those 10 minutes. Every song Taylor sang afterward seemed to carry more weight, more meaning, more connection to the human experience. When she sang Marjorie, later in the set, about her own grandmother who had passed away, she looked directly at Sophia, and they shared a moment of understanding about loss and love. After the show, Taylor did something unprecedented in the middle of a massive tour schedule. She invited Sophia and her mother, Lily Chen, backstage for a private conversation. What happened in Taylor's dressing room remained mostly private, but those present reported that Taylor spent nearly 2 hours talking with Sophia about her father, about loss, and about how music could help heal even the deepest wounds. Taylor learned that Sophia's father, David Chen, had been a software engineer who had been saving for months to buy Eras tour tickets. He had entered the Ticketmaster lottery multiple times, refreshed the website for hours, and finally secured 2 floor seats for May 13th as a special birthday surprise for his daughter. He had been killed in a car accident just 3 weeks before the show, leaving behind a wife and 2 daughters, with Sophia being the youngest. The conversation revealed even more heartbreaking details. David had been planning an entire Taylor Swift-themed birthday party for Sophia's 9th birthday, which was supposed to happen the week after the concert. He had ordered custom decorations, a Taylor Swift cake, and had even learned to play The Best Day on guitar so he could perform it for her at the party. All those plans were now sitting in boxes in their garage, too painful for Lily to look at, but too meaningful to throw away. He had it all planned, Lily told Taylor through her tears. David bought a little microphone for Sophia so they could sing together at the party. He'd been practicing the song for weeks. He wanted everything to be perfect for her. When he died, I didn't know what to do with all those party supplies. Taylor listened intently, tears running down her own face as she understood the full weight of what this family had lost. "What did you do with them?" Taylor asked gently. "They're still in boxes in our garage," Lily admitted. "I can't bear to look at them, but I can't throw them away either. They were the last things he bought before the accident." That's when Taylor made a decision that would become one of the most beautiful gestures of her career. "Lily," Taylor said, "would it be okay if I came to visit you and Sophia tomorrow? I have a day off between shows, and I'd really like to see those party supplies. Maybe we could have that birthday party David planned. I think he'd want Sophia to have it." The offer was so unexpected that Lily couldn't speak for a moment. When she found her voice, she could barely get the words out. "You want to come to our house, to throw my daughter a birthday party?" "If you'll have me," Taylor said simply. "I think David would want his little girl to have that celebration, and I'd be honored to help make it happen." The next afternoon, Taylor Swift arrived at the modest Chen family home in a Tampa suburb. She came not in a tour bus with security detail, but in a simple SUV, dressed in jeans and a cardigan, looking like any other person visiting friends. The neighborhood absolutely erupted when word spread. Children and adults lined the sidewalks, maintaining respectful distance but unable to contain their excitement. Inside the house, Taylor helped Lily and Sophia transform their living room using the decorations David had bought. There were streamers in all of Taylor's album colors, balloons with music notes, and a banner reading "Happy 9th Birthday Sophia" in David's careful handwriting. Taylor held that banner for a long moment, understanding the love that had gone into every letter. The most touching moment came when Sophia showed Taylor the toy microphone her father had bought for their planned duet. It was a cheap plastic thing from a toy store, nothing like the professional equipment Taylor was used to, but she held it with reverence. "This is perfect," Taylor told Sophia. "Your daddy had excellent taste." They spent the afternoon having the birthday party David had planned. Taylor sang "The Best Day" using the toy microphone, and Sophia joined in, their voices blending beautifully in the intimate setting of the Chen family living room. Neighbors who had gathered outside reported later that they could hear the singing and laughter, and many said it was the most beautiful private concert Taylor had ever given. Taylor also spent time with Sophia's older sister, 12-year-old Emma, who had been dealing with her father's death by becoming withdrawn and angry. Taylor talked with Emma about her own experiences with loss and grief, about the complicated feelings that come with mourning, and about how it was okay to be angry and sad and confused all at once. "Your dad was a hero," Taylor told both girls as they sat together. "He worked hard every day to take care of your family, and he left you with so much love. That love doesn't go away just because he's not here physically. It lives in you, in your memories, in the way you treat other people." The visit had a profound impact on the Chen family. Emma began opening up more, finding healthy ways to express her grief. Sophia started sleeping better, finding comfort in the memory of singing with Taylor and having the party her father had planned. Lily felt less alone, knowing that someone understood the depth of her family's loss. But Taylor didn't stop there. She established a scholarship fund in David Chen's name, ensuring both Chen daughters would have their college educations fully funded. She also set up a trust to help the family with immediate financial needs and long-term stability. More personally, Taylor maintained a relationship with the family. She would call on Sophia's birthday every year, always singing a few lines of The Best Day over the phone. When the Eras Tour came to cities near Tampa, she would arrange for the Chen family to attend, and Sophia would always receive special recognition. The story of that night in Tampa spread rapidly across social media and beyond. The video of Taylor and Sophia singing together went viral, viewed over 200 million times. But what resonated most with people wasn't the celebrity aspect, but the humanity. The moment when a superstar recognized that one person in a crowd of 70,000 needed more than entertainment. Raymond James Stadium embraced the story as part of their venue history. They created a small display about that night, including photos from Sophia's birthday party and a replica of the toy microphone David had bought. But the most lasting impact came from Sophia herself. As she grew up, she never forgot the lesson Taylor had taught her about music's power to heal and connect. Inspired by that experience, Sophia decided she wanted to help other children dealing with grief. She started a YouTube channel where she shares her story and sings songs for kids who have lost parents, using music the way Taylor had used it with her. Taylor taught me that music isn't just entertainment, Sophia said in a recent video. It's a language we use when regular words aren't enough. When we sing together, we remember that we're not alone. The Chen family also established a foundation called David's Song, which provides music therapy services and financial support to families who have lost a parent suddenly. The foundation has helped over 150 families process their grief while dealing with the practical challenges of sudden loss. When Taylor released her Midnights album in 2022, she included a personal note to Sophia in the liner notes, thanking her for reminding everyone what music was really for. That acknowledgement meant more to Sophia than any amount of fame or attention. The toy microphone David bought for Sophia became a cherished family heirloom. Sophia keeps it on a shelf in her room, next to the friendship bracelet Taylor gave her that night in Tampa. When Sophia's own children ask about it someday, she'll tell them about their grandfather who planned the perfect birthday party and about Taylor Swift, who made sure it happened even after he was gone. The story of Taylor and Sophia Chen is now one of the most beloved moments in Eras Tour history. It's regularly cited as the perfect example of Taylor's genuine connection with her fans and her understanding that being a performer means being responsible for the emotional well-being of your audience. Music historians point to that night in Tampa as representative of Taylor at her finest, not as a performer, but as a human being. It demonstrated her ability to read a moment, to recognize when someone needed more than entertainment, and to respond with authentic compassion. Today, the story serves as a reminder that sometimes the most important moments in our lives come not when everything is perfect, but when someone notices our pain and chooses to help us carry it. Taylor Swift has performed hundreds of shows to millions of people, but the night she stopped the Eras Tour to sing with a crying child became one of her most important performances, not because of the production value, but because of the love. Sophia Chen, now 10 years old, still keeps that friendship bracelet in a special place, and when she feels sad about her father, she remembers the night when Taylor Swift taught her that even in the darkest moments, music can help us find our voice again and remind us that we're never truly alone. If this story moved you, remember that we all have opportunities to notice when others are hurting and to offer our own form of comfort and connection. Subscribe for more incredible true stories about the humanity behind music's greatest artists. Share this video because somewhere someone is crying and needs to be reminded that they matter, that they're seen, and that their pain is worthy of attention and love.